The views expressed and the opinions given. And welcome everybody to episode 57 of the Odyssey Hour, not the Odyssey Files, as the first second and a half intro played because I selected the wrong one. So that's on me. Apologies. But just in case anybody is interested, coming up either this coming Monday or next Monday, whenever she decides to join us, Ms. Lauren will be a semi-permanent, however often she wants to come on, new co-host to the Odyssey Files on Monday night, which you can watch live on the Odyssey Files radio show Facebook page, and then obviously goes out to podcast as it always does. So, welcome everybody. We are I guess probably should have done it before that announcement, but just go with the flow. We're the Odyssey Paranormal Society team. You all know this. That's why you watch, because we're awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But I just want to reiterate again, just as an actual team announcement. Again, Thursday, March 3rd, we will be in the Lone Oak Room at the Egan Community Center. 7:30, the public evidence and live Q&A will commence. Although I'm pretty sure you'll be able to show up, 15, 20 minutes early, get a good seat. It's going to be amazing. We're going to be showing, because I'm so far behind in updating the website with all of our cases. And then even though I did, it all got erased due to malware and going back to like July or whatever it was. A lot of you be hearing evidence for the first time that hasn't been heard from anybody else except us. So it's going to be great. Obviously, new video evidence along with a lot of our, what do you call it? Going over the hits.
Yeah. Greatest hits.
Yeah. Going over our greatest hits. We could be, we can share stories with you and stuff if you guys want. we're not there to force our anecdotes on you, but if you do want to, that's what this show is for. But if you guys want to show up, it's gonna be great. We'll have all of our merch there, our team shirts, including our new 2.0 shirts with it's not a demon on our back or on the back side. And we will have any and all tickets to the Minnesota Para Unity Convention there for sale, along with anybody that comes in can put their name on a slip of paper, and we'll towards the end of the presentation, we'll be drawing for free 2-day passes. So all of that is going to happen again March 3rd, Thursday, March 3rd at 7:30 in the Lone Oak Room at Egan Community Center. So I hope to see everybody there. It's going to be a lot of fun. So with that said, let's commence with the Odyssey Hour. First, how is everybody doing? I guess everybody doing good?
Yeah, excellent.
Pretty good.
Scott, how about you?
Good.
Excellent. I see all of your lights are still working.
Mm-hmm.
It's Christmas 365 years. Years?
Years? Well, I mean,
it's how long Scott's been alive.
Yeah.
Yep.
365 days a year is what I meant to say in the Shea household.
Absolutely. All right. Who would like to go first?
I can.
Oh, nice. Go, Haley.
Okay, so this is something we've spoken to some particular other people in the paranormal field who are on TV shows who have said that like on the shows they kind of make them whisper or they want them to sort of have these like big exaggerated reactions to stuff. I think we've never really discussed like in theory if we were to land a show, Odyssey Paranormal Society is on, 8 p.m. Central near you or whatever. We have a show on the television. Would you do it? Would you whisper? Would you over exaggerate, for the sake of what the TV producers want you to do and for the sake of entertainment?
I think everybody has a price. I think if they offer most people a certain sum of money, they'll do anything for that said amount of money. But I'm not really interested in being on television. Like, I'm not even sure if I would want to do the show, much rather like play by the rules of a producer. But I think just on the philosophy of our team, I don't think we would take a show unless it was either being produced by paranormal investigators or independently released like a web series or something like that, where we can have our hands in the whole production process and make sure that the editing is to the point, that it makes it as authentic as possible. And when you do that through a network where you have higher ups that are controlling the production, that makes it very, very hard, because once you shoot it and that footage is there, it's up to the producers and the editor and the managers of the company, the heads of the company, to put the final clearance on whatever narrative they want to paint in the episode. So if it's through a major network, no. If it's through an independent production, yes.
I would agree with that. I think we've all heard the stories where investigators go in on a TV show. They have they're doing their investigation how we would basically, and then the editors take it and make it something completely different and kind of destroy the reality of what a real paranormal investigation is and how it should be respectfully conducted. So yeah, I would be hesitant if I wasn't trustworthy of the producers and the editors and the executives, whatever like that. I would love to do a show with all of you. And if we were producing it, if we were in charge of everything start to finish, just like Sam said, I think that'd be great, because I think we have to remember why we're doing it. And us as a team, I feel like we can all come to the consensus that we are doing it to truthfully and accurately depict paranormal investigation. We're not here to over exaggerate and run out of the building screaming, that's just not us. Granted that as some ghost hunters will do that and they can do that. But if we did it, we would, at least my understanding, how everybody feels on this team, is that we would do it to accurately depict what we do and not overinflate, not exaggerate.
Scott?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with both of them. I have trouble just on normal investigation remembering not to whisper as it is. But I think if I had a producer telling me I had to whisper, I probably wouldn't. It's just the way I am. No, I would not like any BS rules like that would be imposed on us. I would want us to do our business the way we do it, not have somebody else telling us how we're supposed to do it. I think we do a pretty good job of it, with what we're doing. And Mike is a pretty good leader. Yeah.
Well, now I feel really bad about the joke at your expense I'm about to tell.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, with how soft spoken you are, if you whispered, only animals would be able to hear you. So I wouldn't worry about that. But I didn't want to. Was that your answer? I didn't want to interrupt.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. So I have kind of a long, like, different, complex answer to this. Just simply because of things that happened before I think any of you joined.
Before this lineup.
Before this lineup.
Before current era.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, before this era. But to the whispering thing. Now, I mean, I've talked with the people who have talked with us about it. And because I give them shit all the time about it, I'm like, you don't do that. And that's where she's like, we're told to do that. And I guess the reasoning behind it is they have cameras on them at all times. And so if something comes up where it's like, was that me whispering, whatever, they feel they can go back and check that exact moment to see if anybody is actually whispering something. I still don't like it. Only I get the mentality and the thought process behind it on the back end, but what it shows people on the TV is people whispering, and I don't, obviously I don't approve of that. That's like rule number 2, and so would I whisper? No. The next part of it is it and this goes to what everybody was concerned about. It's all about the contract that you sign and what you will and will not do. If you sign a contract that says you have, like, you're going to conduct your investigations the way you conduct, and nobody is allowed to tell you how to do that. You can put that into the contract. Nobody will sign it, but you can put that into the contract. You can also put into the contract creative control, or the opportunity to see the episode and approve the episode before it goes on air. Like, that's something Ghost Lab never had. I don't even think the first bunch of seasons of Ghost Hunters, they never saw it either. I think that is now completely different, because I believe, I know with the A&E Ghost Hunters, Grant was one of the producers, so obviously he got a say in how everything was working. I think like Jason, Steve, and probably even Tango, I think, are producers of this one, of the new Ghost Hunters, so they'll have a say in everything. I mean, now everything is a lot different with how much power and popularity people have. So it's a little different now than it was when it first started. But yeah, producers are obviously, I get told all the time, anytime I ask a guest on the radio show about why do you do this when that's not part, but why do producers, every time I get told it's because producers and editors are assigned to tell a story. They don't care what story they're trying to tell, as long as it's captivating. And I agree with you, Sam. Everybody seems to have a price. It's one of those pay your dues now, turn the other cheek. So maybe later you can have that type of power where you never have to do that again. I would not. And that is actually why we do not have a show. Because I have actually before, like I said, before any of you ever joined, and I don't think Scott, you might have been part of the team. Because I know Josie was. But we were actually under contract from like a year-long contract with a production company to have a show. And they wanted to do all these Skype calls. This is pre-COVID and everything, but they're out in Pennsylvania. So I mean, obviously, not face to face, but they want to do all these interviews and record them. And then they also wanted, they did say that they wanted video of provoking. I'm like, we don't do that. And then I made the mistake of saying that's what I have Dave for. And then they wanted to talk to Dave. And they were going, Dave, like they wanted Dave to just start provoking on the video. They wanted me to provoke on the video. And I'm like, we don't do that. That's not how it works. And honestly, I think I did make a video actually in my kitchen of just acting like I was provoking, but blatantly said, we don't do that. That's never going to happen. But here you go. The funny part of that is, I can't remember exactly what question I was screaming or yelling or whatever the hell I was doing. But I was like, I don't know if I asked for a sign of their presence or something like that, but I shit you not. As soon as I asked that question, there was a knock on my wall. And you can hear it in the video. And I almost stopped and started laughing. I was like, you're gotta be shitting me. I'm like, I don't think so. But I think it was because of the whole, you're not going to get what you're looking for from us, is the reason why nothing ever came of it. They wouldn't show me the, Sam, what the hell they call it? The reel, where they put something really quick together, like a little montage.
I don't know what that's called.
Like a teaser?
Yeah, pretty much. It's not a B-roll, something real, but anyway. But yeah, they put something to show like producers and stuff like that to try to get them interested in whatever this new show they're trying to pitch. And they wouldn't show it to me. And so I have no idea what happened with that. And it kept on getting delayed and delayed and delayed. Like I seriously had to wait sometimes like 5 months just to get like a yes or no on whether a like channel or whatever, a company was going to take it up or not. The last one was the Travel Channel. They waited the absolute longest. What sucks though is that A&E, right before this reel was was to come out and be pitched to them, is when they bought A&E's Ghost Hunters. And I think, and they bought Psychic Kids, and I think they had 2 other shows that they bought as well right before the reel for whatever show we would have done happened. So of course they passed because they're like, we've already got all these other shows. And then all of them failed in like a half season. And then Ghost Hunters went 2 seasons, and then that was canceled and sold off. So they really did a shit job with everything that they did. So we have kind of already, I have been in that situation already, and I can tell you that probably the only reason we don't have a show right now is simply because we don't do it the way producers want. So it would probably have to be an independent. It'd have to be somebody who is going with Netflix or Amazon Prime, something like that, where it's not going to be the big production companies that go on Travel Channel. And I don't even know what happened to Destination America. That used to be all paranormal, and now that's dried up and gone. I don't even know if that's even a channel anymore, to be honest with you.
I haven't watched cable in so long. I don't even know what channels are channels anymore.
Well, I know Destination America was like the silver package. Like, it wasn't even basic cable. You had to like upgrade your package in order to get Destination America. That's why I have the package I have. Was I wanted to watch Destination America, and then that went down the shitter. So, yeah. Now it's just it's pretty much just all Travel Channel now.
Yeah.
So
I wanted to add something else to the conversation. It's like, I think it's hard for paranormal shows to ride the line between being authentic and true to actual paranormal investigation while also making that interesting for a layman person. Like, I'm going to be honest, what we do investigations is probably not interesting to most people because they watch shows like, Ghost Adventures and shit like that. And, it's really intense and really emotionally heavy and really negative and really perpetuating, demons and inhuman spirits and making up narratives where there are none. Whereas, we don't do that. We're there to investigate, and a lot of the times nothing happens, and nobody wants to watch a show where nothing of consequence happens. So it's hard to make a show that is entertaining, because at the end of the day, if you're making a show, it needs to be popular to make money, and if it doesn't make money, you can't make it anymore. So in a way, I understand why the shows are the way they are, but that doesn't mean we have to play by the rules of production companies. That doesn't mean we have to sacrifice the integrity of the field, even though the integrity of the field is pretty fucking non-existent at this point. But at least protecting the integrity of our team and what we stand for and our philosophy. We don't need to sacrifice that for anybody, because if nobody's willing to work with that, we don't need a show. We can do that shit ourselves by spreading our word around and our philosophy and shit like that. So yeah, that's what I wanted to add.
Yeah. And I have, 3 $1,200 camcorders sitting behind me. If we wanted to make a show, we could. And I know that because I've already tried.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for my horrible editing, which I got better, just in my defense, and the basic fact of the people who were on it didn't really have the integrity that they needed, or the patience that they needed, I thought it was a great concept. I mean, I would even do it again, but only it wouldn't be, it wouldn't be Dave and I like it was last time. And I mean, it would be us. And, we would run the show exactly the way we do a normal investigation. The only thing that really differs from anything is, like the B-roll, interviews and stuff like that. Like, that stuff you would set up. But the investigation itself, even with that show, I never changed a single thing for what we did. If it was exciting, great. If it wasn't, you saw people ask a question or two. They got nothing but silence and then moved on to the next thing. It's yeah, I mean, it's tough. I mean, if you're going to do, I'll just bring in Pam's question. Do you subscribe to Paraflix? No. But I know the owner of one of the owners. I actually know all the owners, but I mean, I've had dealings with one of the main owners of Paraflix. Even though they've kind of gone away from it a little bit. I mean, very good friends with Elizabeth Saint from what was Vidi Space and then Cosm. Those, if you go to Paraflix, and I have, I would say 90 to 95% of the shows that are on there are all evil based. Like they're all demonic and they're all have negative connotations to them. I don't know. I mean, they could use a show that had our team on it, definitely. But I don't know if I would ever create a show for that. But I mean, if you guys wanted to, I would, oh, he twisted my arm, I'd be up for it. But Haley, what about you? You haven't gotten a chance to answer your own question.
Okay, wait. First, I've never heard of Paraflix, and then maybe that's because I'm a bad investigator. But what is that?
No, that makes you just a better.
I'm actually the best investigator.
Person.
Okay.
Basically, Paraflix is a paranormal streaming platform where anybody who wants to go out and act like ghost adventures or ghost hunters or whatever and wants to film it themselves can create either a documentary or a show series and then put it on that platform. And then people subscribe to it for, I think it's like $4 a month or something along those lines. And then you can stream however and whatever you want. And then they have a whole list of shows. In fact, one of the sponsors of the Minnesota Para-Unity Convention just launched in January their own paranormal streaming platform. And I think that's paranormaltv.com, I think. I don't know right off the top of my head. But they just launched one. So, I mean, if anything, I would go with that because I love Frank. Yeah, that's all it is. And then supposedly you're supposed as like the content creator, you're supposed to get a share of that based on downloads or streams or whatever. I don't know how it works. I think it's just people who don't want to use YouTube, so to speak. I mean, some of them, I haven't watched any of them. I don't feel any need to watch any of them. But some of them do look like they have some pretty good production value. Like they really put some time and effort into making it a spooky show. So, but yeah, that's Paraflix. So continue your answer.
Okay. Yeah, I just didn't know what it was. I mean, it sounds like it could be really interesting for people who make good content, but then also like if anyone could put anything on there, that could be problematic. But okay, yeah, I think you guys really summarized a lot of what my thoughts were. I mean, what it comes down to is that I wouldn't want to do anything that's inauthentic to what investigating is actually like, or inauthentic to how, Odyssey Paranormal Society, how we roll, basically. So yeah, and I think that I think it was Sam who someone said something about like, they're not going to want anything on TV that isn't super captivating to an audience. And it's like, the thing is that paranormal investigating is not always captivating. Like, I think we can all definitely say we've been on investigations that would look really boring because they were really boring. and we didn't get jack shit out of it. So that's just kind of the reality of what it's like. And I wouldn't want to create any sort of fake narrative that it's always really exciting, that there's always, footsteps around every corner and you're hearing things, constantly or what have you. Like, that's just not realistic. So yeah, I don't know that I think if we were to do some sort of show, it would be something maybe like on YouTube. But we're completely in control in that sort of environment. But yeah, I think that unless there's a show where one of us as a producer, it probably won't really work out well, and we'll be told to whisper, and I don't want to do that, because that's just, and I'm not trying to bash on people who do that on their shows, because like Sam said, everybody has a price and having money would be sick, but I would feel morally wrong doing that. That's my answer.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I don't know exactly. I don't think it's the way on streaming platforms as it is on cable, because cable runs by ratings. It's ratings driven content as opposed to content driving more content, So I've even heard, I don't know if this is, I try to stay away from gossip and rumors and crap in the paranormal, but like I've even heard recently that Destination Fear is worried about whether they're going to get another season or not. I mean, and if you would have asked anybody who watches a lot of paranormal TV, like they would consider that one to be one of the most popular ones out there. But if the ratings are not there, nobody's going to nobody's going to buy it. Nobody's going to give them another season. I've even been told, and the source is wanky, so take it for what it is. But I've even been told that the Travel Channel considered giving Ryan Buell another show. After all of the crap that he did over and over and over again. And, but for the basic point of, they knew that he would get huge ratings the first like 2 episodes and then nobody would care, but they could sell enough advertisement to cover the whole season. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. Obviously, it never came to pass. I know I did see on Twitter like a year ago, maybe more than that, Ryan actually asking if anybody had any cases that they would like him to check out because they were filming for a new show. I nearly vomited, but that's just me. So it's an interesting part of the field. I mean, you can't get past how much good it does for the field and how much horribleness it does to the field. But we're never, I guess I couldn't say never. We're not going to get away from it for a very long time. All you can do is, if you have the means, put out something that you can be proud of. And that goes with the actual reality of how you or we or whatever actually do investigations. Because Haley, you're 100% correct. There's a lot of freaking investigations that we've done where 2-3 hours in, I'm like, God, can we leave? We still got like 3 more places to go. I'm like, but there's nothing here. But we troop on and hope that we get something in evidence. It's hard to make that, as you said, captivating and watchable and entertaining. So, it is what it is. I guess that's probably why a lot of places have moved away from doing homes now. And they go to the prisons and they go to the lighthouses and they go to the mansions, because they're almost assured some sort of activity. whereas homes, you're not. I mean, we've had a lot of home investigations where we haven't had any experiences whatsoever. We get evidence, but no equipment, no, bad feelings, no nothing. We'll figure it out.
I think if we were to get a show or were to start producing a show ourselves, I think it would probably be better for us to not go out and seek content, but instead compile. Maybe we have to wait 2 years before we get enough content to release like an 8-episode series of what we've done for the past 2 years, and that way you can piece together a narrative that is interesting but is still full of, authentic content, things that actually happen that we're not manufacturing. We're not going to places to get the content. We are experiencing them as we would experience them, and then compiling them later in maybe like a documentary or, short episodes about the best investigations or whatever. That's the only way I could feasibly see us doing a show where it was true to our format. Because if we're not going to manufacture anything, if we're not going to play anything up, that means the time spent gathering the content needs to be bigger. And production companies are going to pay for that because that's a lot of time and money. So we would just be paying for it in time, really.
Which we do anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, honestly, whether it's more cases in the future, even the cases that we have, I mean, the only thing that we're missing in our previous like investigations in order to do something like that is our camera work.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
There's times we're not even on the camera. I mean, or like we're half on, or it cuts off our head because we're, we don't care.
Yeah.
The camera, even though I try to stress stay in front of it, not because I'm trying to create any of the content, but because if anything happens, I want to be sure it's not us. If we're all in the camera, then we can go back and check. But if like somebody's standing in front of the camera and it cuts off your head and then there's a whisper really close, now we can't confirm that it wasn't you, whoever is there, saying it. So, I mean, really all we would really have to do is get better at being in front of the camera. And, any investigation that we do could be used, because whether it's DVR, whether it's the camcorders, I mean, we blanket as much as we can. And so, I mean, it's something that we can always talk about later. I mean, I don't think that it's anything that is pressing any of us. I honestly don't think any of us are gung-ho to try and create a show.
No.
It's a big
just
time
shrugging, Laura.
I got things going on. The team already takes up enough time. Like we got lives to attend to.
Yeah. Sorry, I was reading Pam's message.
Yeah, I also read that comment.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of watching investigations on YouTube. In fact, I don't think I ever have. People suggest them to me, and I'm like, I know, Lauren, you have a couple times, and I'm like, just by like the picture, like the screenshot that people use, I'm like, nope, I'm out.
I just like to see what other people are doing, honestly.
I don't, because other people
especially
suck.
when it's in famous location. I'm very much like, okay, I want to see what's going on. I want to see how bad these guys fuck up is most of the time. But there's like some smaller like teams kind of like ours that actually do a decent job. But like kind of like Pam said, it can be hit and miss. So
yeah,
you gotta kind of sift through the bad to get to the decent and good ones.
Okay, and just for I owe you a knuckle bump. Thank you.
Mhm.
So yeah, did I answer your question, Haley?
All 40 minutes of it, yeah.
Hey, it was a
No,
good topic. I mean, there's a lot
apparently.
to there's a lot to say about
Yeah, there is a lot to say.
about it. Scott, did you have anything you wanted to add since you've been quiet since your 3-sentence answer?
No, it's just I was on the team with you when
You
you
were.
were
I
negotiating. Yeah, and both Josie and I did interviews with that producer online.
That's right. So you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's right. Because I think you guys came over and then you each took like 10 minutes or 15 minutes or
Mhm.
whatever, and he interviewed you guys singularly.
Yeah.
That's right. I thought so, but I wasn't positive. Oh yeah, that's right. That was one of the selling points was the fact that you could do like clearings and you were a minister, a religious guy, blah blah blah. But anyway, does anybody have a topic that they're really excited to do tonight?
Do you have a topic you're very excited to do? Because it sounds like it.
I do a little bit. Um,
I'm okay going with yours then.
okay.
Let's do yours.
All right. So I'm actually surprised that I don't think that I've talked about this with any of you guys. Or if I have, it's been in a roundabout way. But it came up in a story from this past Monday show. And it's fascinating. Have any of you watched or listened to Monday's show?
No.
Sorry.
Well, shame on all of you. I read poetry, which was
Wow.
amazing. And I wrote a poem, which I recited as well. So get to it.
That's a good way to make me not watch it.
I'm sorry, but it was amazing. So watch the tongue.
I'm kidding.
I know.
I'll check it out.
Anyways, well then good, because then you don't know what this topic is. Do you guys think that there are rules when you're on the other side about how you interact with the still living?
Is this like a butterfly effect sort of situation?
No.
Where-
I'm not saying that this is like you can't interfere with like your past or anything like that. No, but I mean, are you not allowed to say what your name is? Are you not allowed to give answers to questions or to certain questions? Are there rules that the for better term, the dead have to follow when it comes to interacting with the people who are still living?
I guess that depends on if you think there is a tangible being controlling the afterlife. You know? I think to me that question assumes that there's somebody has to lay down those rules. You
Mhm.
know, unless you're talking about rules in terms of laws of physics, like laws of reality. That can also be a different interpretation of it. I am a pretty agnostic person / atheistic person. So I think if anything on the other side, you were limited by the laws of physics as we know it, the laws of energy as we know it. And obviously there are probably things we haven't discovered yet about how energy works, but if anything, I think a spirit's inability to communicate certain things probably comes from a lack of energy to do so, or a lack of a means to do so through energy. So I don't think that there are like rules like you're not allowed to reveal your identity or your name or something along those lines, or reveal something about another person that the person the spirit is talking to doesn't know or something. I don't think I subscribe to that, but it is interesting to think about.
Yeah, it definitely is an interesting thought, because it would be nice if it were to be like, yeah, there are rules, and this explains why we don't get constant interaction. That would be great if we just had like that knowledge. However, I don't really know. I guess I had never thought about it like ever. This had never occurred to me that could be a possibility. I've always just sort of imagined that there is free will in the afterlife, really, and that spirits are able to do sort of what they please, up to, obviously the laws of physics or what have you getting in the way. Yeah, I do think that Sam brings up a good point when he, was talking about the sort of way that they might be held back by their own energy levels, and that, when you're just a soul and not a body with all these, mitochondria and cells doing whatever they do, your energy probably decreases quite a bit. So I'm sure that it's probably, yeah. I think what I'm trying to say is I don't think that there's really like rules. I think it comes down to just rules of energy and the rules of, how energy is passed along and how they're not going to have as much energy as we do now.
I would agree with both of those answers. I really like what Haley said about kind of free will carrying over, because I think in my mind it makes a lot of sense, because we've always said, like, people are mean people in real life. They can be mean people in their spirit afterlife kind of state. Like, personality does go back and forth. And so I think you do get a lot of people that are like, oh, I still don't like this person, even though I'm dead. So I'm going to torture them in the afterlife because I can. So I think even if there were rules, I think people spirits, or the dead, for lack of a better term, like we said, the otherwise bodied, I think they would do what they want, especially like, I feel like if you were like a spirit, you're like, oh my gosh, I have all this freedom, because you can you don't have your physical body weighing you down or like putting more constraints on you. I feel like in a sense, you're kind of more physically, like, you can do what you want. Granted, you do have the energy kind of thing, at least to our understanding. But yeah, I don't really know if there are rules. I feel like we probably would have heard something about those. The only rules that I can think of that maybe we've heard about or something like that is when another like being is controlling an environment and controlling the other spirits in them and like keeping it down, because we have heard of situations where there's kind of a dominant spirit that is like making sure everybody else stays quiet kind of thing, or somebody saying, oh, I can't talk because I'll get in trouble with this big guy that's running the show over here. That's really the only situation where I can think of that actual rules have been put in place, but that's not like they're like forced upon the spirits, which it's kind of a sad situation if that's the case. But yeah.
I don't think I would use the word rules.
Guidelines, strong suggestions.
None of those fit.
No.
No.
I tried.
No, yeah. I think there are certain spirits over there that have like authority over. I'm getting out of the shaman studies I've done. That have authority over certain areas of the spirit world, and you cannot communicate with those areas or enter those areas without permission from the spirit in charge. That doesn't necessarily mean there are rules that are imposed on spirits or are imposed on us, but Um, but I think there are spirits. I believe in angels that have authority over different things. But still, I don't like. I don't. It doesn't make sense to me to say that there are rules. Because there's no. I mean, the Catholic Church has its code of canon law that has 1,316 laws in it. There's nothing like that on the other side. I don't think there are new laws or rules that you have to follow. I agree that that free will probably carries over to the other side. In fact, there's probably some biblical support for that idea, but yeah, I'm going to say no. I don't think there are any specific rules that are imposed on us.
Okay.
How was that question brought up in the radio show?
Give me 2 seconds here, and I will be able to tell you. Or maybe I can't. Oh, quiet.
Now that would be fun. Paranormal Jeopardy.
Ooh, that'd be fun.
That would take so much work.
I mean,
you don't need to do a survey then, like for Paranormal Feud.
Say what?
You wouldn't need to do like a survey for like Paranormal Feud.
No, but you would have, but you would really, you would have to come up with a lot of different topics and then questions. And I mean, honestly, not even questions. You have to come up with the answers, and then obviously hope they hit the questions. All right, so
what is? It's not a demon.
What is a demon? Do you think? And the answer, I'd like to take different hauntings for 400, Alex. Like, this is the kind of haunting that it never is. What is demonic?
Demonic.
All right. So the question posed was, do you think there's a rule? You think there's a rule that spiritual entities can't interfere with our lives? And they wrote in, it's just odd because we all have, or at least a lot of people have, paranormal experiences. In the case of me, I've seen something once in my life that was definitely a visible ghostly figure. But whenever it seems people investigate these haunted buildings or houses and try to catch something, at least from what I've seen, rarely anything happens. I assume the entity doesn't want to be used for entertainment purposes and they're aware of cameras, or like I said in the title, there's a rule, a line they can't cross where their presence is definitive. This is all operating on the belief they exist, because the other explanation is, well, they don't exist. But I don't know. Anyone have any idea, any experience or knowledge on it? Why paranormal experiences are so frequent, and yet we barely get any actual photos or video evidence that is clear as day? I'm just really curious. And honestly, we've tried to do that too. When we were at the Mason house, we, the second night, we got rid of all the cameras, thinking that maybe that was something that they didn't want. But it was the same both nights, so no, that wasn't the case. But I mean, we've tried to do that too. I've even asked in the roundtable discussion with Heather Taddy and Michelle Belanger, I asked that question: do they just hate cameras? Do they hate the equipment? If you bring that in, does that make them want to not interact with you? But yeah, I don't know. Add that to our list of things to try to find out in our ongoing cases. I've kind of gotten away from that I think the last time I really tried to hit that was the last time we were at Leduc.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't think that I've really
I would
gone
be
at it.
interested. I have been like thinking about suggesting that, you know, on next time we go to a location that's not a private home, to just try leaving the equipment to a minimum and just seeing what that does for our energy and the way we're conducting the investigation and stuff like that. And just trying that kind of different tactic to see how that works for us, you know, just having a recorder and that's it, you know. We could definitely try it. Obviously, I wouldn't want to do that for a private home because we're trying to get evidence. That's kind of the point. But for having experiences and also like just working on feeling things and acting upon your instincts, I think that might be a good training exercise for us to do. Yeah, it'd be interesting. But I also wanted to add like just our team alone and on our website, we've documented a lot of EVPs of spirits communicating directly. So I think this person is talking about video and photography mainly, right? Because
Well, I mean, those are the examples, but I think what he's probably referencing is, I mean, it's what's bothered me about ghost hunters for years. You know, they seem to have all of these personal experiences, yet when it gets to the reveal, it's like 2 class C's and a blurry video.
Yeah.
And it's like, you were there for a week and this is all you found?
Yeah.
Like, we're there for like 4 hours. We have 3 times that and much clearer.
Yeah.
So I think that that's kind of where he's coming from, where people seem to have all of these experiences and all of these claims. I mean, we get them too. I mean, the last home investigation we did, it was like an hour of stories and claims, and and that eye roll is very justified. But
For a lot of reasons. I'm sorry, I'm being judgmental.
No, like I said, justified. And get to the investigation, nothing. You know, or next to nothing anyway. Or it's something that like isn't even part of the claims is now suddenly happening. So I mean, I think that's where that comes from, is the like the difference between the experiences to the evidence. And I don't know if that's the rule. I don't know if that's the line. I don't know if there is a line. I did not ask you the question to whether you agree with me or disagree. I don't know. I honestly,
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to it. And that's one of the questions where I don't even want to venture a theory, because I just, there's so many evidence to settle both sides that I don't know. But I think that that's definitely something to I think it's definitely something to add to our investigations to see if we can get some sort of answer one way or the other. But yeah, I do want to just Scott, I don't know if you saw Pam's thing, but yeah, I and that could be too. I think that's another really good point. You know, instead of rules, are we given choices? God, I would hope that you wouldn't have to do an ultimatum in the afterlife. I would like to believe that you have the free will, you have the choice. And I don't know if it was Sam or Haley that said it. I thought it was a very good point of maybe they just don't know how. And that's popped in my head a few times, you know, previously as well. Do they know how? I said it on Monday's show. I mean, maybe the fact that we can't get a name is because they don't remember it.
Yeah.
Or they get, once we pass over, do we get all of the knowledge from all of our past lives? If you believe that we all have past lives, and maybe they have 100 names. That's why I've actually started asking, is there something you would like us to call you? And hopefully, and I haven't gotten an answer from that either. But one day, I'm going to get a name. Somebody's going to give me their damn name. That's my goal. Then I can retire. But yeah,
I promise I'll do it when I get there, Mike.
I'm going to be dead before you, Scott. I mean, you're already, as Sam said, 365 years old. You're going to outlive all of us, especially with your diet. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting question. So we're out of time. So I mean, unless, like I said, if anybody wanted to throw something else out, okay. Otherwise, we can save it for next week. Sweet. Let's wrap it up. So
it's me, the producer in the back. I'm going.
That's right. So yeah, again, make your plans for Thursday, March 3rd to join us in the Lone Oak Room at Egan Community Center. 7:30 we'll be beginning, and maybe we can all have what the hell is that noise?
Yeah, I don't know. It sounds like a car.
Something like that. Anyway, maybe we can all have a discussion on this. I would not be against that at all. So, like I said, we'll see you then. But you'll see us next week, no matter what. Well, maybe not no matter what, but you get the idea. So, all right, that does it for us. And I thank you to everybody for watching. And again, I apologize for the second and a half of the wrong opening at the beginning of this show. So, all right. That does it for us here this week. So, everybody stay healthy, stay safe. We want to see you back here. Everybody have a